Germany announced their squad earlier, and I think they mentioned that Bayern Munich had basically flat out said no to calling up before the 23rd. Is that something that you've heard? Obviously, it affects Georgia Stanway, or are you still hopeful of kind of negotiating with them?
Yeah, I still hope we kind of negotiate. At this point, it's hard, but we're trying to get the conversation going again.
And I know we spoke in the past about kind of the plans that the FA had, quite well laid plans. Now a few things seem to kind of still be negotiating. Is that a bit of a frustration from your perspective that things maybe aren't as settled as they could have been had all of this stuff that's not really your decision been made earlier?
Yeah, well, of course that's frustrating because we have all our plans and we thought we were all set, and then like a month ago, all of a sudden the things changed. Well, we didn't expect that, and it's so late. And I do understand, it's about the calendar. It's really hard. It's about players having rest. Like after the tournament, players need to have rest. We basically have now an in-season break. And so they also have to get prepared for the World Cup and have a little rest too. But after the tournament, sometimes it's hard to get the rest because competitive games start again. So that's why we have to collaborate and talk to each other to try to solve that. But now in a short time like this, we're all set. A month before we start, it all changes. And that's frustrating, and that's hard too, because I think this is not the time to do this. It's the time to do that later and solve it after this tournament.
And have you heard anything more from FIFA on the One Love armband as well? Because I know we spoke to Leah. She said that they was in talks. Have you heard anything more about that?
Yeah, I heard they're still in talks, and and that I expect that to be solved before the tournament starts, from what I've heard. But I don't know any more than that. And I trust that too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Molly. Tom.
Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to follow up on Jess Park, and I know that was probably one of the harder decisions for you.
Yeah.
How did that conversation go, and how disappointed is she? And maybe did her recent injury play a part in your decision?
Yeah, no, that was a hard conversation, and of course she was disappointed. She's also one of the standby who will train with us and go to Australia. I just explained it, and and it has to do with balance in the midfield too. I think she's a very talented player. We just made some other choices now, but what we really discussed, I'll keep between her and me.
And one of the players that you have included, Hannah Hampton, someone who has obviously been in good form for her club, and maybe, I know 6-7 months ago, you said she had things to work on to get back into your plans. How maybe impressed have you been with her improvements, and what sort of conversations have you had about that with her, coming back into the England team?
Yeah. Well, I think she's done all the things she needed to do, and that first starts with club, of course. So she did really well at club. She performed at club. Then we brought her in April, and I think she did good. And she's still doing good, so that's made us select her for the World Cup squad.
Thanks, Tom. We'll finish with 2 questions. We'll go to Susie and then Amy, please.
Hey, Sarina, Susie Rack from The Guardian. Just wanted to ask about Nikita Paris. That must have been another hard conversation to have because she's had quite a strong end to the season.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I told her too. So she had a good end of the season, but I think her competitors had a very good end of the season too. So sometimes someone doesn't get picked not because she didn't perform, but because other ones really performed well too, and we make other choices. So that was a hard one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susie.
And hi, Sarina, just another one about somebody who didn't make it. There was some talk about whether Steph Horton could possibly earn a recall with the injury to Leah Williamson. Was that something that entered your thought process? Was Steph somebody you talked to? How did that kind of selection dilemma work out for you?
Yeah, she has been in our conversations all the time too. For the defenders, of course. So with the whole technical staff, we spoke about that too. I had a conversation with her yesterday, and she isn't part of the squad, as you've noticed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks to everyone for joining. Big thank you to Boldmere St Michael's for hosting us, and we look forward to working with you throughout the summer. Thanks.
Thank you.